Well, I've kind of been neglecting this series a little bit and didn't realize that there was a whole bunch of them that I actually hadn't done a review of. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do one of these here. Probably not going to be super fast. As you can see by my terrible handwriting here, this is the TS513. It's a chef's knife, and it's in 10Cr15MoV, which is kind of like a generic version of VG10. And yeah, as we can see here, as soon as I get all this stuff on out the way, we can see that, yeah, this has a pretty elliptical looking G10 handle. You can see all the different fibers and everything in there, all nice and polished. We got the end cap on there. And because of that end cap, it's just a little bit, yeah, further back in the balance. It basically balances right at the beginning of the bolster, not necessarily right there. That works out perfectly fine when you're holding it in your standard pinch grip that you certainly would for most of those things. A little bit more Japanese style is certainly possible, but yeah, not super advantageous for a chef's knife like this. So yeah, you can see we have vertical layers of different steel going on the top here, and yeah, I mean it's strictly strictly cosmetic. That's the word I'm looking for. A lot of older Japanese knives would have very thin core steel, and sometimes it would be VG10, sometimes others. But they harden them to such a high degree, sometimes 65 to 67 HRC, that they really did want to have some protective, softer steels kind of going on the outside of it. These are a little bit different in that they don't have the exceptionally hard steel going on there for the 10Cr15MoV in here. It's still, I think they claim it's 56 to 58, or maybe 58 to 60. I don't know, it's somewhere right around in there. But yeah, so it's at or a little bit above what a standard German chef's knife would be tempered at, which is usually 55 to 56. A little bit softer because they actually want to use the kitchen steel to realign that edge. And when you start getting super hard and everything, like a standard Japanese knife and the high 60s for Rockwell hardness, yeah, kitchen steel doesn't really bend anything. It just chips edges off. That's why they generally don't use that. When they need to sharpen a knife, they take it to a stone. So. But yeah, I mean, this guy's a certainly serviceable piece. I would say probably a little over 7.5 inches. Pretty close to 7 3/4. So not quite a full 8-inch chef's knife. That's perfectly fine, especially if people aren't super used to kind of the longer knives. 8 inches seems to be around my sweet spot. Like I have demonstrated, I do have like a 10.5-inch chef's knife from Nexus. And for the most part, I think it's just a little bit too long and whatnot for me. But I could certainly see if, you're preparing stuff for a whole bunch of people, then, having a longer knife is probably a little bit more advantageous. But, for standard family, this thing's pretty darn good. Fit and finish is quite nice on the handle, and of course G10 is pretty impervious to heat. So if you were to do something super crazy, like I don't know, throw it in the dishwasher, or roommates or other people after a party or whatnot want to help clean up and throw it in the dishwasher or whatnot, then, it's not going to be the absolute end of the world. It's not going to ruin the wooden handle. It's not going to shrink or crack or anything like that. But, still, don't put your blades in the dishwasher. It's a dishwasher. It's not anything in the kitchen washer. Generally, well, you don't want to put your pots and pans in there either. It's a dishwasher. washer. They're much more tolerant of between the temperatures and of course the cleaning detergents and everything like that. Metal just doesn't hold up quite as well in there. The detergents can kind of eat away a little tiny bit on the sharpened edge of a knife. Something you probably wouldn't see just by kind of looking at it, but you might notice that it cuts a little bit different after it's been through the dishwasher a couple of times, just due to those detergents, which sometimes have bleach and whatnot in there, and bleach does horrendous oxidization things to steels. So yeah, there's kind of my spiel on that. But at least the handle, it's going to be able to deal with all of that. Has a really nice adhesive and the end cap on there. Really don't have any worries about this thing kind of warping or cracking or coming loose or having anything kind of stuck in there or anything like that. This thing's super rock solid. And yeah, if that's all you're kind of looking for is just a slightly shorter than a normal chef's knife, this thing is a pretty fantastic thing. It's quite nice and thin behind the edge. They did a pretty darn good job on the full flat grind going on there. And yeah, it's not a super thick stock thickness to begin with either. So this thing does a pretty darn good job at slicing through everything. However, it is a little shorter, as a lot of these TwoSun things are. And that can get to you a little bit. Let's kind of do that. With knuckle clearance, you can see basically just how close my knuckles are to the board there, using this pinch grip. And yeah, so if you had hands with fingers even larger than this, I apologize if you do, because yeah, they are a little bit of a pain in the butt to deal with some things like gloves. This guy might not exactly be the one for you, but yeah, it's a petite slicing machine. It's still not going to quite beat out my absolute favorites, the TS999 and 14C28N. Just that's a little bit more traditional as far as like the blade tallness goes, and it also has this interesting clip at the end of the knife there too, which makes it super convenient for doing some other tasks with the knife there. So yeah, this guy is certainly a nice budget knife. I can't imagine these things are super expensive. I think I paid just under $30 for it, and for that, it's absolutely fantastic for a knife. Very functional. I haven't had any problems with the edge during any of my testing. I haven't done any touch-ups on it yet, but I probably will right before I kind of set this guy up for the moment. I'll just kind of take a kitchen strap to it, because that's, a leather strap of some sort to it. Whether it's this guy right here or the I do have one upstairs, the JRE Industries strap bat with the 4 different ones on it. And it seems to do a great job on my kitchen knives. I am a little bit worried that the adhesive on 2 of the leather strap sides aren't super strong, but if they do actually come off, it's easy enough for me to glue them back on with a little bit stronger adhesive. And yeah, it seems to work out fantastically. So yeah, this is TS513. This is quite a bit better than that other chef's knife in the 500 series that I had taken a look at a little bit ago. That kind of felt like I was trying to do kitchen tasks with a splitting maul. This one has a much thinner edge, a little bit more capable for doing more delicate tasks and whatnot. So there you go. All right. Well, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your day. Get this guy.